I was running 4 delivery apps simultaneously when my phone lit up with another text from my ex-wife. "Emma needs new school supplies. $500. Today." I stared at the message while parked outside Chipotle, waiting for my next DoorDash order. 3 phones mounted on my dashboard, one for Uber Eats, one for DoorDash, one for Instacart, and my personal phone for her endless demands. It was Tuesday. She'd hit me up for $1,200 for car repairs on Friday. I'd been doing this for 2 years. 2 years since Melissa decided she wasn't happy and took everything in the divorce. The house, the savings, most importantly, our kids, Emma, 8, and Tyler, 10. The court gave her primary custody and me every other weekend, plus enough child support to ensure I'd never crawl out of this hole. But I paid it. Every damn cent, plus all the extras she demanded. "If you actually cared about your children, this wouldn't even be a question," her next text read. The guilt trip. When that didn't work immediately, she escalated. "Maybe we should revisit the custody arrangement if you can't provide for them." There it was, the threat. She had a whole playbook. I transferred the money and accepted 3 more deliveries. My 2003 Honda Civic wheezed as I started it up. 287,000 miles and counting. The AC died last summer. The radio only worked if you hit the dashboard just right. But it ran, and that's all that mattered. My studio apartment was a far cry from the 4-bedroom house where my kids lived, where I used to live, where I still paid the mortgage. 1 room, 400 square feet, a hot plate, and a mattress on the floor. But it was close to the zones where I got the most delivery requests, so I could maximize my earnings. 80 hours a week, that's what it took to cover child support, her extra demands, and keep myself barely afloat. Gas station coffee and dollar menu items were my fuel. I'd lost 30 pounds, but not in a healthy way. "Daddy, why don't you ever eat with us?" Tyler had asked during my last weekend with them. "I eat at work, buddy," I'd lied, ignoring my growling stomach. The $40 I would have spent on dinner for myself meant I could take them to the movies instead. Melissa's texts were relentless. New soccer cleats, dance class fees, school field trips, always urgent, always accompanied by manipulation. "Don't you want them to have the same opportunities as their friends? A good father would find a way. I'm doing this all alone." All alone. I started noticing things on her Instagram. She'd blocked me, but my sister still followed her. Designer handbags, fresh manicures, salon highlights, weekend trips to wine country, posts about self-care and knowing your worth. Meanwhile, I was delivering sushi to tech workers, praying my car would last another month. The kids started mentioning someone named Brad. Brad took us to the park. Brad made pancakes. Brad has a cool car. "Who's Brad?" I asked during pickup. "Just a friend," Melissa said, not meeting my eyes. "It's good for the kids to have positive male influences." Positive male influences. As if working myself to death to provide for them wasn't positive enough. 3 months ago, something shifted. Tyler asked if we could skip McDonald's because he knew I, quote, couldn't afford it. My 10-year-old was worried about my finances while his mother posted photos of her new iPhone 15 Pro. I remembered one of my Uber passengers from 6 months back, a lawyer who'd given me his card after we chatted about my situation. "If you ever need advice," he'd said. I'd kept the card in my glove box, next to the registration I could barely afford to renew. But I didn't call. Not yet. I just kept grinding, kept paying. Kept believing that if I just worked harder, I could make it work. Then came the Tuesday that changed everything. I'd just finished a 14-hour shift and was picking up the kids for my weekend. Emma ran to my car, backpack bouncing, her gap-toothed smile melting my exhaustion. "Daddy, guess what? Brad made us a fort in the living room, and we all slept in it last night." "That sounds fun, sweetheart," I said, buckling her in. "Yeah." Mommy and Brad said it was like camping. Brad's really good at forts since he lives with us. He doesn't even have to pay rent like he used to. Mommy said that's because he helps around the house. "Can you move back in and help around the house too?" I felt the world tilt. Brad, Lives with you? Uh-huh. For a long time now. He has all his stuff in Mommy's room and everything. But it's a secret, so don't tell anyone, okay? A secret. I managed to hold it together through bedtime stories and tucking them in at my apartment. But once they were asleep, I sat in my car and shook. Not from anger. Not yet. From the realization of how thoroughly I'd been played. All those emergencies, all that guilt, all those threats about custody and accusations of being a bad father, while another man lived in my house, in my bed, with my kids. The anger came later. I pulled out that lawyer's card and sent him a text at 11 p.m. You said to reach out if I needed advice. I need advice. He responded within an hour. Call me tomorrow. Document everything starting now. Document everything. I became a detective overnight. Screenshots of every text demanding money. Bank records showing the transfers. Her Instagram posts lined up with timestamps of when she claimed to need emergency funds. I even paid for a background check on Brad. Turned out he was unemployed, had been for a year. The real kicker came when I dug deeper. Melissa had been claiming single-parent benefits from the state, housing assistance, food stamps, all while Brad lived there and I paid for everything. My lawyer friend Tom took my case at a reduced rate. This is fraud, he said simply, and it's affecting your custody arrangement. We can fix this. The confrontation was almost anticlimactic. I met Melissa at a Starbucks and laid out printed copies of everything. The text demands, the bank transfers, her benefit applications where she claimed to be a, quote, single mother with no support. Photos from her social media showing Brad at birthday parties, holidays, clearly living there. How long has Brad been living with you? I asked calmly. She cycled through every manipulation tactic in her playbook within 10 minutes. Denial, anger, guilt, tears, threats. You're going to traumatize the children. A real man would want his kids to be happy. I'll make sure you never see them again. Fine, keep your money. Let your kids suffer. But I'd heard it all before. This time, I had armor. My lawyer will be in touch, I said, standing up. Oh, and Melissa? You might want to get a job. Both of you. The court case was beautiful in its simplicity. The forensic accountant found that Melissa had been hiding assets, living with Brad for 18 months while collecting benefits and extra money from me. The judge was not amused. Custody went to 50-50. Child support was recalculated based on her actual living situation. She had to pay back the fraudulent benefits. Brad mysteriously disappeared shortly after. The best part? I could afford a 2-bedroom apartment now. Nothing fancy, but the kids had their own room, real beds, a kitchen table where we ate dinner together. I still drive delivery, but now it's 40 hours a week instead of 80. I'm saving money. My car got fixed. I can afford to eat actual meals. Last week, Emma was doing homework at my kitchen table while I cooked dinner. Real dinner, not gas station hot dogs. Daddy, she said, I'm glad you have a home now, too. Me too, baby, I said, plating her spaghetti. Me too. Tyler looked up from his book. Mom says she might have to sell the house. That's tough, I said neutrally. It's okay, he shrugged, as long as we still get to be with you half the time. That's what matters, right? I had to turn back to the stove so they wouldn't see me tear up. Yeah, kid, that's what matters. Melissa still texts sometimes. No more demands or guilt trips. Just logistics about pickup times. She got a job as a receptionist. I heard through the kids that she's dating someone new. Good for her. As for me, I'm driving this afternoon, but I'll be home by 6. The kids will be here. We're making tacos. Tyler wants to help cook. Emma's teaching me some TikTok dance. I'm not rich, not even comfortable, really. But I'm no longer drowning. I'm no longer invisible in my own life. And every other week, I'm exactly where I want to be, home with my kids, living a life I can actually afford. Turns out that's worth more than any amount of money she could have demanded.